Okay. So when we're talking about the everyday business owners, so maybe our example now will be the CPA, right? They've got a service practice or an attorney or something, an accountant that has a business that does a service. How do they differentiate themselves? When it's just, I mean, taxes are taxes and numbers are numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of different levers to pull, right? You can start with price, right? What's your price point versus someone else? You could talk. We could start with service. How do I give you a place to store all of your tax documents so that you don't have to go find them, right? That may be a unique service that you provide. It could be location, right? Like there's a differentiation there. Like we serve, the CPA serves my hometown, Dripping Springs, right? That all their clients are with 2 miles. They can drive by and see them, right? That's a totally different than an H&R Block, right? That's
Right.
online and right. And so that's where we like to sit down and if you're not sitting down with someone like us that's a marketing person, I think you can sit down on your own and start to think, where am I, what's common about my clients? Why do they love me? What's if I look at the guy down the street, why am I different from them? Right? I think
Mm.
there are some ways to think through who you serve and what you do, especially if you look through a competitive lens or a customer lens, that'll start to, if you look through them hard enough, you'll start to see I am actually different. I do taxes in a unique way. I serve a group that's different than everybody else. Like you can get to that differentiation even in a commodity business.
Nice, nice. Okay. So how does using a unique value proposition, which is really truly what we're talking about, how do we it's step number 1 in your marketing strategy and your growth strategy and really driving where your business is going, right? I mean, we're calling this like this is foundational, incredibly foundational information that you've got to nail. Um and that doesn't mean it's not gonna change and evolve throughout your career,
Sure.
but, when you're putting things together for this growth and having this future strategy or vision, it's something that's gotta be dialed in first, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I love the word you use, foundation, right? So we do brand decks for people, and sure, they've got logos and colors and fonts in it, but they also have things like positioning statements. And we're talking about 2 lines of this is what I do, this is who I serve, and this is why I'm unique, right? Like we're talking not even a full paragraph, right? That becomes, and then underneath that, what are the services that I offer my clients, right? How do I like to service them, right? And so we're talking about very short statements that become the underpinning, to your point, the foundation of the entire business. That then gets translated into my storefront. Is that on my website? Is it on my social pages? Is it on my physical storefront? How is my promise to the consumer being brought to life, right?
Mm.
And part of that, those questions are, who is my unique target market, right? And so the next thing, now that we know who we're serving and we know why we're different, we've got our storefront. Right? How do I reach my target? Where are they? What do they care about, right? And then now that I'm thinking about how do I reach them, like what do I offer them? What's my value to them? How do they interact with me? How do they test me, right? But that all starts to emanate out from, who am I? How am I unique? Who do I serve?
It sounds so simple, but it's not. I mean, it does. It really sounds so simple because, many of us business owners, as I've said over the years, that we have this idea that we can do something better, and I know how to do this thing, right? And then I mistakenly wrap a business around it and start chasing customers, but they never come back to this really foundational piece to nail it in a way that could really form and grow their company a lot faster, as in your example where you went from 5 million to 15 million really quickly. I would assume that it had a lot to do with how you positioned yourself and spread that message out to the world.
At 100%, we were super targeted. So the realized example where I was the fractional CMO for a number of years, and still I was on a call with them today. So I've been working with them for 6 years. They serve investment property owners, people that own rent houses and that want to move out of being active landlords into passive landlords. Like they know exactly who their target is, right? It's really clear. That transition is fraught with peril. It can have big tax bills, right? And a lot of times these people, this is one of their largest assets, right? And so what we did was we built a content strategy, and I know we wanted to talk search a little bit, but we built a content strategy specifically answering the questions around that transition. We used tools to see what were the biggest questions being asked on Google, right? What topics are out there? Where aren't people getting answers? What are the biggest pain points? And then we wrote content into those places so that people could find answers, so that we could be helpful. And then after we answered their question and helped them through a stressful situation, we offered more. Would you like to learn more? Would you like to do you need help? We're here for that. But we started really with who's our target? What's their pain point? How can we help them? How can we serve that content up in a helpful way? And then after we solved their problem, or at least answered their question, then we said, would you like help with that?
Love it.